Alright, so I would say like about over a year ago, YouTube has recommended me a video by Seth Bailey, which is like where he did separate videos of Happy Meal with toys based on the decade. Like I think the first video I watched was like the 80s, but I also did watch the 70s before that, or maybe it was the same video, but also watched the Happy Meals in the 90s, 2000s, and eventually he would do like kids meals toys of like other restaurants like Burger King, Wendy's, heck, even Subway. And watching these videos inspired me to do a video of my own, probably well over a year since I watched the Happy Meal videos, and that was, well, I wanted to do a video ranking Pokemon Kids Meal toys over the years. Being a Pokemon fan, like, during the late 90s and early 2000s, and I guess well into my adulthood in my 30s, I want to do a video on like ranking the Kids Meal toys over the years, especially of the Pokemon toys. I'm gonna rank them from the worst, like my least favorite, to pretty much my most favorite, like the number one, like straight up the best, like worst to best. So this is my ranking right here, starting with the worst. Starting up with the worst, we have the Pokemon trading cards. Now here's the thing, even as a kid in the late 90s, who loved Pokemon so much, I definitely would have loved the trading cards. But honestly, even as a kid, I probably would have preferred plastic toys over the trading cards. And heck, even now as an adult in my 30s who has a hobby of sometimes collecting Kids Meal toys, I wouldn't mind preferring plastic toys over cards, just because it's much better to display toys over cards. And the thing is, like over in Japan, like the past few Japanese Pokemon like Happy Meal events was like it did feature toys, but like when they brought that same like Happy Meal set over to the US, they didn't bring over the toys, they only brought over the cards. And I think there are a few reasons why McDonald's USA didn't bring over the toys. The first reason why is because, well, there's actually one reason why. There's only, like, they want to reduce the number of plastic. They want to be more environmental friendly. They want to reduce plastic, like, and I've noticed that over the years since, like, back in the 80s and when I was a kid in the 90s, you had the boot bucket, which was like a bigger bucket, but then when you see the more recent boot buckets, they're smaller, they don't have a lid like the old ones, and I think that's the reason why. It's like if McDonald's like wants to bring over a Pokemon event like the past few years, they were only doing the cards, no plastic toys, because they just want is like, hey, if we're going to do a Pokemon event, let's just have paper. Let's just have the Pokemon cards. Let's just have paper. We're not going to bother with the plastic toys. In fact, you even have like the you also have like some Happy Meal sets like the Squishmallows or the Hello Kitty Yu-Gi-Oh set that were just plushies, because like, hey, plushies can deteriorate over time. They could be destroyed by frickin' nature. They won't be much of a hazard or waste in the environment like plastic. So obviously McDonald's USA would prefer just to do just cards for, you know, the Pokemon Happy Meal set. But the thing is, like, I have another reason to hate the Pokemon trading card. Say it is the worst, and that is mostly because of scalpers the past few years. I mean, it was bad enough that scalpers have ruined the trading card game for, you know, the actual collectors. It's so bad that even like stores like Walmart is only selling one box per shopper. And you have these scalpers that are like trying to buy as many Pokemon cards as they can just so they can sell it at a much higher price. Just pretty much ruining the hobby. And I have seen like a past, you know, Pokemon McDonald's event. You know, like I once saw a post someone was like, "Oh yeah, I was by the McDonald's and I just happened to like take these boxes full of Happy Meal, Pokemon card sets just from a truck while no one's looking." Like, dude, you just committed a crime. But there were people who would just buy multiple sets of the Happy Meals just so they could turn around and sell the cards. In fact, last year, when, Japan had their Pokemon card, Pokemon Happy Meal set, you had a whole bunch of people over in Japan buy the Happy Meal set, but then they'll just keep the cards and the toy, but they'll just throw away the food. And this pretty much like made McDonald's of Japan like really upset. Like, what's the point of you buying a Happy Meal if you're just gonna throw away food? Like, you're wasting food. So yeah, this is why the Pokemon trading cards is like ranked at worst, because of the fact that it pretty much brings out the worst of people, especially the scalpers. I guarantee you, if they had like if they brought over the toys. No. Japan did also have the toys too, so I guess it really didn't make much of a difference. Up next is the 2009 Bird King set. Now, all we have here are like some flappy things, like a Pikachu and a Regigigas stand, and I guess a Pokemon card holders. And they aren't really much, but I guess it's just slightly better than the trading cards. Okay, the next part, I am going to list 2 sets of Happy Meal toys. The 2019 Pokemon Disc Shooters and the 2014 X and Y set, which, judging from the picture, also look like Disc Shooters. But the 2014 set looks slightly better because I'm going to assume that after you shoot the X and Y shooters, they'll have like a Pokemon stand that just comes up. That's what I'm assuming. Anyways, the reason why both these disc shooters are more closer towards the end is that I get the feeling collecting them is awful. Like, over the years, I have not seen any of these disc shooters at like Goodwills or secondhand shops, and even if I do, they're in separate pieces. Like, you probably couldn't even find the disc, you could only find the Pokeballs themselves. I get the feeling like they're like one of the worst things just to collect. Up next, we have the Subway Pokemon toys released in 2005. Now, being Subway, be more like trying to be more quote-unquote healthy, the toys they've released are pretty much athletic based, and I put them higher compared to the previous toys because they at least try to look like actual toys. Although I have to say, out of the 4 toys in this image, the one I definitely want the most is the Pokeball, which is probably supposed to be like the most blandest of the 4, but compared to the other 3, it's the most Pokemon item on here. Up next, we have the Pokemon Game Boy toys released in the year 2000. This game corresponded with the release of Pokemon Gold and Silver on the Game Boy Color, and this toy actually comes with 3 pieces. You have the Game Boy piece, you have the Game Boy game cartridge that's like this small plastic square that you can put in the back of the Game Boy, and then you have these like kind of see-through plastic pieces that were also inside the Game Boy. There's like a little pot, it's like there's like some sort of lid in the back that could just open up in the back, and then you can find a plastic piece in there. Now the thing is that this is like one of the hardest Pokemon toys to collect. Just to find like all 3 pieces, like, it's just a pain in the ass for collectors. As of right now, I have the Snubbull Green, like the Snubbull Game Boy up there, but I didn't have the plastic piece that came with it. So yeah, it's kind of in the more towards the worst category side of the list, mostly because it's a pain in the ass to collect. Up next, we have the 2003 Wendy's toys. We have here a huge variety. There's looks like a Pikachu clock, a Kecleon keyring. You have a Kecleon compass, a Charizard box for your trading cards, and then you have this Pikachu clip. So a very nice variety here. Up next, we have the Power Cards released during the year 2000. This was actually released during the second Pokemon movie, Pokemon the Movie 2000. And I do have nostalgia for these Power Cards. But at the same time, when it comes to collecting and displaying, they are definitely the worst. Most of the time when you find these cards, they don't have their display with them. So you can't prop them up. You have to prop them up against something. And it is the worst. Sure, nostalgia for it is one thing, but looking back and looking at collecting it, it is definitely more closer towards the worst end of this list. Now I'm going to make an exception with the Japanese Pokemon meal toys. As I've stated earlier, that there have been a past few Pokemon events in Japan, but whenever we get Pokemon meal toys over here in America, they never brought over the toys, only just the trading cards, which is kind of disappointing because the Japanese Happy Meal toys and they are actually kind of nice looking, especially one in particular that is a Japanese festival. I was kind of disappointed that we never got those toys. So I want an added spot for the Japanese Pokemon Happy Meal toys. Up next, we have the 2008 Burger King Kids Meal toys. We have a few card holders with the feet. It's Manaphy, Darkrai, and Palkia design. You have these stands over here, Pikachu, Turtwig, Chimchar, and Happiny. We got some frames here that are blue and yellow that each come with a Pokemon plushie, Pikachu and Mantike. Yeah, that's what it is, Mantike. And I actually do happen to own this Mantike plushie that I happen to buy somewhere. It's slightly higher because I do the figures to the left. They have some nice display to them. And I can imagine kids wanting plushies. The card holders can be nice for those who own the trading cards. In 1998, KFC released 4 beanies: Dratini, Zubat, Seal, and Vulpix. And at the time, they cost about $5 each, which, if they had that same price nowadays, I would gladly spend $20 to buy all 4. But after inflation, they cost close to $10, which I don't think I'll be able to spend $40 on all 4. After inflation. Luckily for me, I was able to buy all 4 off of eBay for I guess around $30 some years ago. So yeah, I'm right now in possession of all 4. But here's the thing, the 4 beanies aren't actually the main meal toys. The actual meal toys are this image on the left, which this is a screenshot from Seth Bailey's channel when he did the video on the KFC toys. And I have to say, just looking at the image, heck, even both images, is giving me absolute nostalgia, Generation 1 nostalgia. A part of me just wants to have every single item that's on the left here, although I get the feeling that the majority of the stuff is just lost in time. I'm now gladly spend $40 on the entire set here. Watch, there's gonna be someone who's gonna take me on my freaking word. It's actually, I could sell you all stuff for $40. But if there's anything that I could salvage from here, if there's anything I could collect, it's probably the Pikachu clip thing, the Ivysaur toy, and maybe the mix and match thing right next to it. As for the Ivysaur toy, the Ivysaur toy is a squirter. I don't know why Ivysaur is a squirter. It could be like any actual water type Pokemon, like Squirtle or heck even Seal, maybe Poliwhirl. But why Ivysaur? I mean, if I came across an Ivysaur toy and saw it as a Squirtle, my first mind is like, oh, that's probably some rip-off toy, not like an actual merchandise from a fast food chain. Just something I have to look out for when I collect Pokemon meal toys. Just like how I mentioned the Japanese meal toys earlier, I'm going to mention some European toys. Because apparently there are some European toys that, like, there's some toys that came out in Europe, but not here in the US. And I have to admit, I'm kind of jealous of these toys. First up, we have like this 2006 European set. You got some little standing, these toys on the stand, like the Plusto and Munyon. You got the Mew and the Munchlax, the Blastoise. Like, these are kind of nice looking, but not as impressive as the 2016 set, where we have this huge variety of like Snivy, Vulpix, a Togepi, a shiny Magikarp, and this Scraggy over here is like my personal favorite. Like, I want the Scraggy so much. I did mention, I did happen to have the Squirtle of this set, which I bought off of a Whatnot stream. It was Comfort Cartoons Whatnot stream. I don't know how he got it, but he managed to get it, and I got it off of his stream. So shout out to Comfort Cartoons. Up next we have the Sun and Moon Pokemon toys released in 2017. And you have your, like, release during the US, the US release has 8 toys here, but according to Ballpedia, in Brazil and Latin America, there were actually more toys released. Like, Brazil and Latin America had a different Pikachu design on all fours, another Pikachu in an attacking motion. Not only that, there was also a Pikipek, a Rotom Dex, and Komala. Kind of disappointing that we kind of lose out on the Rotom Dex and the Komala and the Pikipek, but the 8 here that we have is a pretty decent set. Alright, up next we have the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire set, released in 2015. And, well, you've got some like Primal Groudon, Primal Kyogre, and Rayquaza. You also got Mega Latios, or Latias. You also have Hoopa, which I consider more of an X and Y Pokemon, but I guess that's a method of visiting other legendaries. A unique Pikachu and Lugia for some reason. Wildfoot's there, even though it's a Johto Pokemon, but it's also native to Hoenn. Out of the Pokemon here, I only have Groudon, Kyogre, and Latios. And I know it's going to be a pain collecting Hoopa, because most of the time that Hoopa is missing its ring. Honestly, I wish there was more Hoenn-centric Pokemon, because I feel like Lugia and Wildfoot are a bit, you know, they kind of don't sit with the rest of the group here. Now, I've talked about toys in Japan, as well as toys in the European countries, and I also talked about toys that are exclusive to Latin America. But, how about not only toys exclusive to another country, but toys exclusive to a specific restaurant? I'm talking about Jollibee. So, Jollibee has some pretty nice looking Pokemon toys. In 2016, and they have these 3 toys here, with Oshawott, Tepig, and Pikachu, although Oshawott looks like it has lips. In 2017, they have the Sun and Moon toys with Rowlet, Popplio, Litten, and Pikachu. In 2018, Rockruff, Alolan Vulpix, Pikachu, Togedemaru, and Bounsweet. And just earlier this year, and I'm actually pretty jealous because they have these pretty nice looking figures, while here in the US, we have scalper inventory. So, Jollibee, for the 30th anniversary, has Riolu, Lucario, Munchlax, Snorlax, Vulpix, Ninetales, Pichu, Pikachu, Psyduck, and Golduck. And I have to say, I really want most of these figures. Except for Vulpix. That one looks awful. Next, I'll talk about the black and white sets, both the 2011 one and the 2012 one. I can't just talk about one and not the other. Because personally, I believe that the 2011 set is better than the 2012 set. The 2012 set has the evolved forms Duwat, Servine, and... what are you called again? Let's say Tepig Evolution, because I can't remember it right now. Pignite, that's what it is, Pignite. Then you also got Pikachu, obviously, the mascot. But then you also have Axew and Woobat. And I guess Axew makes sense because it's Iris's Pokemon, and Iris was a traveling companion of Ash during the Black and White series. But Woobat, I feel like it's a bit random, but it is also Jesse's Pokemon. I feel like some other Pokemon would be much better choices for toys. Compare that to the 2011 set, which came out a year earlier, which I think is much better. Not only do you have starters, Tepig, Snivy, and Oshawott, but also have, well, Pikachu, of course. But then you have like Zorora and Zoroark, which were stars of the Zoroark movie that came out, as well as the mascots, Reshiram and Zekrom. And going back to the 2012 version, I feel like 2012 would have a better set if there's like a Kyurem, or even heck, black Kyurem and white Kyurem, to compare to like Zekrom and Reshiram. But you know, that's just a personal opinion. And now we're getting into the top 3 best. At the number 3 top 3 best, we have Detective Pikachu, released in 2019. Now, the way I see this, it's the 20th anniversary. It was 20 years since the first Pokemon movie came out, and I see this toy line as like a 20th anniversary of the first Pokemon movie. And, well, Burger King also hosted like the first Pokemon movie toys at the time, 20 years earlier in 1999, which we're gonna cover like later on in this video. So I see this as like a 20th anniversary. We have Arcanine, Pikachu, Loudred, Mewtwo, Psyduck, and Bulbasaur. And a part of me feels like there should be more. Like, I feel like 6 is not enough. I feel like there should be more. In my personal opinion, I think they should have added Greninja, Charizard, Ludicolo, Jigglypuff, Snubbull, Mr. Mime, and Ditto. At second best, we have the 2018 Legendary set. You have Latios, Dialga, Palkia, Tornadus, Thundurus, Zekrom, and Reshiram. And this is not the first time that Zekrom and Reshiram appeared. They also appeared in the black and white sets as well. And I believe the Zekrom and Reshiram have a slightly different design. I believe Reshiram's arms actually stay put. Or I don't know if they actually come off. It's like, all I do know is that there are 2 different kind of McDonald's Reshiram toys. One where the arms does come off and one where the arms do not. Anyway, this is a very nice set of toys, a very nice variety. And at the number 1 best, we have the 1999 Burger King Pokemon meal set with a grand total of 57 toys. Now, these set of toys were released during around the exact same time as the first Pokemon movie. And this felt very grand. Like, this was such a grand set of toys. Like, I felt like this was like this is like very grand. Like, it's like at the time I didn't think any other Pokemon meals, like, well, not any Pokemon meal, but like any kids meal set would be as grand as this. Now, of course, that's not true, because McDonald's would eventually have like the 101 Dalmatian sets that is like much bigger than this. But at the time, this Pokemon set felt grand, and I think that's mostly because it was during the big peak of Pokemon during the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, this was such a huge impact to me. There was a period of time where I thought Burger King was like the best fast food place for like the longest time because of this set. Like, even when I was like, going through my teenage years, I was like, oh yeah, Burger King is like the best. And it was mostly because of how much of an impact this Kids Meal set was. And after this, there wasn't a Pokemon, set like this. I mean, of course, you can't have a Pokemon meal set. You can't have Pokemon Kids Meals with a grand total of 57 anymore like that. Like, heck, I don't think we even get, like, a quarter of this nowadays when it comes to, Kids Meals. But, like, especially with Pokemon Kids Meals. But still, like, 57 was a lot. And I'm currently in the process of collecting every single toy from, this Kids Meal set. And I'm at, right now, like, about half of this set, like, of this entire set. Now, of course, there was controversy. There was a controversy at the time. A 1-year-old child was given the Pokeball in the center, and this caused the 1-year-old to, suffocate because, like, the child had like the one half of the Pokeball like covering their mouth. And Burger King eventually would release this set of toys like a second time without the Pokeball. I believe like very early spring of 2000. But ever since then, whenever there was like a Pokemon set, like Pokemon meal toys, there would be no Pokeball. In fact, the Pokemon meal set after this, which was the Power Cards, was designed specifically because it didn't have the Pokeball with it. Although it's like the Power Cards were like greatly inferior to this set. And the thing is, what made this set so good was not just because of the Pokeballs, but because a lot of the Pokemon toys in this set also kind of double as figures. Well, most of them, I would say. Like, you get these like full 3D models of each different Pokemon. And I think that's what makes it much more superior. It's like, not just the number, but they feel like, the Pokemon figures as well. And this is why, like, I have the 1999 Pokemon meal set as the #1 toy.
And there you have it. A list of Pokemon meal toys ranked from worst to best. So, you out there and have a nice Pokemon day, and if there's anyone watching like the video, please subscribe and have a nice day. Bye.